Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Tutorials Group, and let's jump right in. And today's tutorial is going to be a little bit longer than the usual because this is going to take a little extra work. So sit back, relax, grab a chair, grab some coffee or whiskey, poison of your choice, and let's dig in. Basically, you want to look at this photo and see what's wrong with it. The poster said basically that it was the right eyeball, but to our left. So we're going to call this the left and then call this the right, even though it's backwards. So if we zoom in, we can look and see basically the picture has been distorted here, and there's a problem with her eyeball here. And there's a lot of other things actually going on too. Like the face here is a little bit wide, and it looks like the picture has been broken, and we want to fix that too, along with the depressions here and underneath the eye. Obviously there's parts up here, and also on the bottom there's this weird pole or string that's in the way we can get rid of. So let's go ahead and start with the easy stuff. I'm going to zoom in to the pole, and this one's really easy. We're just going to take a lasso tool, and we basically just draw a big circle or oval circle around the whole thing. Now we're going to go up here to edit, come down to fill selection, and you do this when you got large things to fill, and leave it at content aware. That's what you want to make sure that you choose, content aware here. We can leave the mode at normal and opacity at 100%. As soon as I hit OK, watch what happens. Boom, it's gone. It doesn't always work as good. I'm going to Control D to deselect, and you can see it's a little bit off, but you know what? For this photo, I think it's perfectly fine. You can't really tell when you back out. So we like that. Let's go ahead and move on to something else here. This one's pretty easy up here. This time we're going to use the Band-Aid tool. And all we got to do is make a brush that's a little bit bigger. Now with the Band-Aid tool, you kind of want to use hard brushes. So let's grab a size, let's say 13. That's about that size. I'll just click it right there, let go, and there it is. It's been fixed with the Band-Aid. Again, this right here, the side of the face. We can try the Band-Aid tool. I'm going to bring this down to like a 9 point, and we'll see if this works. If I do that, and look at that, it worked pretty good. But her face is still kind of lumpy here. So I think I'd like to go ahead and just take a part of the left side and move it over to the right. So I'm going to take the polygon tool once again, and I want to grab a portion of this side, like this, down to the chin. Come up here, I'll let go. I'm going to right click and hit copy. That created a new layer. If I turn off the back layer, you can see that new layer. That's right there, that portion of her face. Now if I go to the grab tool and move that over, now you see exactly what it is. Let's go ahead and reverse that so it'll fit on this side. I'm going to go to Image, Rotate, Horizontal. If I choose horizontal up here, it'll rotate the whole picture, but choosing it down here rotates just that layer. As soon as I hit that, it moves it over to this side. Now all we have to do is bring it down here and place it as close as we can to the original. And we like that. If we want to see the difference of before and after, I can toggle using this little eyeball up here, toggle it on and off, and look at the difference from before and after. Huge difference. Now to soften it up and make it blend in, first I'm going to lighten it up because this side has more light than this side. As you can see, it's too dark here. So I'm going to go to Enhance, Lighting, Brightness, and watch this portion here. As I bring the brightness up, I can bring it down, I can bring it up too high. So we just kind of toggle it back and forth until it melds into the background, which is going to be right around here. You almost can't tell. So I'm going to hit OK, and now we can erase the portions that we don't need beyond the area that we got. So I'm going to make the brush of the eraser like, let's say 20 point, and this was the eraser that we chose. Now you see the portion is like right around here that we want to get rid of. So if I just bring it over here and just look at this, it blends right into the original. I'm going to do the same thing with the outside and have it just blend right in with the original. And that's all there is to it. Now I can toggle the before and after, and look how much better the after looks. Now we can leave all the layers separate, or we can marry it down by right clicking and hit merge down. Now I merged it down to the original. It's all one big picture now. So now let's go ahead and work on the eyeball. Now basically the poster wanted to copy this eyeball and move it over here. Now you don't want to do that because that will make the photo symmetrical, and no eyeballs are symmetrical. And I'll show you for example. Grab the square up here, bring it down here and choose elliptical or round, and I'm going to go a little bit bigger than the eyeball, and that way we can soften the edges afterwards. I'm going to right click and hit copy. Basically now using the grab tool, I can move that eyeball over here. Now if I back out, you'll see it doesn't look proper. Even if I color that, it looks like a robot or a fake face. So basically that's not going to work very well. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. What we want to do is fix this eyeball. So I'm going to do that same thing with the elliptical. I'm going to grab this eyeball. It's looking a little bit small. I want to make it bigger. So I'm grab a big portion of it like this, and I'm going to hit copy. And now I can take just that portion. If I turn the background off, you see all I have is the eyeball. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so it matches the other one. And if I really want to see where it's supposed to be placed, I can turn the opacity of that layer to 50%, and now you can see both eyeballs. If I match where the other one is, it's a little bit lower than it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go up a little bit and out one, and now we can bring the opacity back to 100, and it should be all fixed. Now when I say fixed, I mean the outer portion of the eye. Now let's work on the eyeball itself. I want to grab this eyeball and move it over here. So I want to get rid of just the eyeball. I'm going to turn the background off, and I'm going to zoom in, and with the eraser I can make a small like 3-point, and we're going to basically get rid of just the eyeball. And there we go, because there was a problem with this eyeball. We want to replace it. What are we going to replace it with? This one here. So I'm going to go to this layer of this photo. I'm going to grab a section of the eyeball. I'm going to right click and hit copy. That copy now is in the middle, but as long as it's below this one, it'll show up underneath. See that? So I'm bringing it in, and if I zoom out, you can see I can toggle the eyeball anywhere I want, and that's really looking like the real thing. As soon as I declick, we can see how real that looks. And there we go. That's how to fix the eyeball. Now we got another problem with the outside being a little bit indented up here, and the shadows are wrong. So let's go ahead and lighten that a little bit. Let's open up a whole new layer on the top of everything else. Then with the eyedropper tool, I want to grab the same area from this eyeball. So I'm going to grab it right here, grab a brush, and make the brush a lot smaller, like 15 point. And I'm just going to paint this whole area in like that. And then I'm going to take the smudge brush and make it smaller, like a 25 point, and I can smudge that lightening a little bit beyond where I want so it blends into the rest of the eye. Now mind you, we're not going to use this at 100%. That's just where we start at. So now I can take the opacity and bring it down to 0, and see what happens as I bring it up. It starts to match the other eyeball. If I go too far, it's going to be too much. So I'm going to bring it back down till it matches. Let's go 80%. That looks good. I'm toggling that on and off, and that looks pretty good. If I zoom out and toggle that on and off, that looks good. And we'll do the same thing with the bottom part and a new layer. So we're going to hit new layer, and this will be for the bottom part. As I pull out, you can see it looks pretty good. Now, I like the opacity, but it was a little too dark, so you can always change it by going Enhance, Lighting, Brightness, and we're only changing just the portion underneath the eyeball. Watch, we can go from darker. See that? This is almost like doing makeup. It's really kind of cool what you can do with elements. And let's try to match it, which is going to be plus 25% of the original. Here's before, after, before, after. And we like that. So that's pretty much it. All we want to do maybe is clean up around the nose just a tiny bit. So once again, I'm going to create a new layer, and then on that new layer I'm going to grab an area over on this side with the brush tool. That's too big of a tool. Let's try this at 5%, and all I want to do is just clean up a little bit right there. Grab the smudge tool, and I can smudge. And then we take the opacity like we did with everything else, take it all the way out, and start bringing it in little by little, boom, 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 until we like it. I'm going to show you the before and after, before, after, before, after. But what I want to do now is do an overall fix on everything. So I'm going to take all of these. I'm going to grab with a shift bottom one and the top one, and that grabs everything. I can right click and hit merge layers. That turns it all into one new photo. And now I can either try enhance auto smart fix, and boom, it just made it a lot more contrasty. This is looking really good. Now I can do it on my own by going to adjust lighting brightness, and now I can add more brightness, less brightness, or more contrast or less contrast. In this particular case, we want to bring her out, so I'm going to give a little bit more contrast and a little bit more brightness. Or if you really want, you can go to Enhance, and way down here there's a hidden feature called Colorize Photo. Now watch what happens. I'll hit Colorize Photo, it brings up a new page, and it's generating in preview, and there it goes. It tried to colorize it as best as it can, and it gave us 4 different choices to choose from, and it's up to you whatever you want to use. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. This is Rich calling it quits, saying over and out.